Venezuela's defense minister Vladimir Padrino Lopez states that the attempts at power imposition and threats of the United States have contributed to increasing the dignity and firmness of the Bolivarian people. In Honduras, the presidential candidate of the Libre Party, Moncada, closed her campaign, asserting that on November 30, 130 years of bipartisan rule will be defeated. In Palestine, at least 22 Palestinian civilians were killed in a new wave of Israeli attacks in the Gaza Strip. Hello and welcome to From the South, from the headquarters of teleSUR English in Havana, Cuba. My name is Pablo Micheliche. We begin with the news. Stay with us. Venezuela's defense minister Vladimir Padrino Lopez once again rejected the attempts at power imposition, threats, and the hegemony of the United States, but acknowledged that they have contributed to increasing the dignity and firmness of the Bolivarian people. He stated this while overseeing the security preparations to guarantee the fourth national popular consultation that will be held this Sunday in Venezuela. The General-in-Chief highlighted the strength and dignity of the people in the face of imperialist threats from the fascist far right, emphasizing the civic-military police union in defense of peace and national sovereignty. Meanwhile, the White House, the State Department, and the Department of War insisted daily on new multifaceted intimidations against the South American country.
El imperialismo norteamericano se antojó.
U.S. imperialism decided to threaten us even more, with bomber planes, missile ships, and nuclear-powered submarines in the Caribbean.
¿Y nosotros qué hicimos? Nosotros respondimos con mayor unión nacional, más trabajo, más resistencia.
And what did we do? We responded with greater national unity. More work, more resistance, more patriotism, more organization, more democracy, more commitment to doing all this is part of what we have been building.
Ellos no van a descansar, pues, mientras existe un proyecto que tenga sus raíces aquí en Venezuela, en Bolívar.
Because they will not rest as long as there is a project rooted here in Venezuela, in Bolivar. They will reject it, they will always reject it, anything that resembles it. Bolivar must be present throughout Latin America. For them, Latin America and the Caribbean belong to the North Americans. For us, the Monroe Doctrine is answered with Bolivarianism.
Para nosotros es el bolivarianismo.
In Venezuela, the communes and commune circuits continue to implement communal projects chosen in popular assemblies while they prepare to celebrate the fourth popular consultation. From the state of Táchira, our correspondent Michelle Ramirez gives us the details.
Así está la ciudad de San Cristóbal.
This is the city of San Cristobal, capital of the state of Táchira, located in the Andean region in the southwest of the country, where the citizens are known for their friendliness and hospitality.
Aquí nosotros los tachirenses.
Here in Táchira, we are very happy because we have the San Sebastian Fair, which is one of the best fairs in Venezuela. It is called the San Sebastian Fair, and we really enjoy the friendship with everyone who comes here, with the foreigners, with those who come to us. We are all brothers and sisters, and we really have to come together and be brothers and sisters to all. And to those we can give love, we give love.
Esta región también ha dicho presente.
This region has also been present in popular consultations, consolidating various socio-productive projects in its 236 communities and communal circuits. Among these projects is the repair and beautification of a sports field.
El poder popular se organiza. El poder popular
The people's power is organized. The people's power determines the priorities, and then the government gives the money to the people's power, and the people's power transforms for the better. On this occasion, the Táchira government transferred resources to the people's power, and this previously abandoned and dilapidated sports field is now as good as new. It seems incredible, but only the people can save the people.
Otro de sus proyectos ejecutados fue la
Another of their completed projects was the acquisition of for motorcycles and first aid kits for the Civil Protection Unit.
una entrega de motos para proteger
A delivery of motorcycles to protect our men and women who are constantly on emergency duty, because we are a municipality with a high level of risk due to the area, and civil protection is always there to keep an eye on things. We continue here from the municipality of Torbs, with the support of our President Nicolas Maduro, and our governor, because one of these projects was financed directly by the government of the state of Táchira, and the other by the federal council. It was a single project, but in this consultation, President Nicolas Maduro decided that there should be 2 projects for each commune circuit.
fueran 2 proyectos por cada circuito comunal.
Aseguraron que las consultas populares
They
son
assured that the popular consultation are proof that the country guarantees its sovereignty and peace, despite the aggressions of the U.S. government.
Así que mañana nos levantamos tempranito.
So tomorrow we will get up early, organized as we are, with great awareness to vote for popular projects, and at the same time we are reaffirming that we are a sovereign people, independent from any foreign power, that we are not warlords, but are also organizing to guarantee peace.
Bien, organizando para garantizar la paz.
De esta manera, el Estado Táchira se prepara para
In this way, the state of Táchira is preparing to hold the 4th popular consultation in which 1,573 community projects will be selected for the benefit of its inhabitants, demonstrating the success and social impact of the new model of self-government, promoted by the national government.
En la cámara de José Luis Briceño, Michelle Ramírez desde el Táchira, Venezuela, para TeleSUR.
President Xi Jinping reiterated China's categorical rejection of external interference in Venezuela's internal affairs under any pretext. In a letter sent to Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro on the occasion of his birthday, the leader of the Asian nation reaffirmed that Beijing will continue, as always, to support Venezuela in safeguarding its sovereignty and national security, the dignity of the nation, and social stability. The Chinese president attached great importance to the development of bilateral ties and expressed his willingness to work together to further enrich the China-Venezuela strategic partnership. He also stated that his goal is to bring greater well-being to both peoples and inject more positive energy into global peace and development. And China and the U.S. held talks to reduce the risk of misunderstanding between their naval forces in the Pacific. Chinese and U.S. military officials held talks in Hawaii to prevent armed incidents in the Pacific. However, this search for understanding contrasted with the aggressive policy the Pentagon maintains in the Caribbean, using the war on drugs as a pretext to threaten Venezuela's sovereignty. During the meeting, Beijing reiterated its rejection of provocations and spy activities disguised as freedom of navigation, claiming that the presence of military assets is a factor of instability that violates regional peace. And now we have a short break coming up. But first, remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news update, and much more. We will be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Honduras, the presidential candidate of the Libre Party, Moncada, closed her campaign, asserting that on November 30, 130 years of bipartisan rule will be defeated. During her campaign closing in the city of San Pedro Sula, Moncada urged her supporters to vote early on November 30 to consolidate the electoral victory in the country. Likewise, the presidential candidate accused the opposition of lying by claiming that they would shut down the country's main economic sources, and she labeled as failures the coup supporters, an oligarchy who traveled to the United States seeking backing from imperialism. In this regard, she reaffirmed her commitment to the working class, to whom she dedicated a strong message of struggle against the abuses caused by public-private corruption.
Le decimos a la OEA.
We tell the OAS, the bankers, those at the headquarters, and that oligarchy that not one more piece of Honduras. This country belongs to the Honduran people.
Esa oligarquía que ni un pedacito de Honduras más. Que este país es del pueblo hondureño. Que este país lo vamos a defender
We are going to defend this nation from every space of power. I already say I do not want elections unless they are elections to achieve the real power of the people and to exercise it with discipline and strength.
Si no son elecciones para tener el poder real del pueblo y ejercerlo con disciplina y con fuerza. Se acabó la fiesta.
The party of the 25 economic groups and the 10 families is over. The laws must be changed. The laws must be modified. Structural changes must be made so all ones can grow, so that the economy and wealth can be distributed.
Para que la economía y la riqueza se distribuya.
We stay in Honduras. The presidential candidate of the National Party, Nasri Asfura, held his campaign closings with a rally in Tegucigalpa. Before the main event, the candidate led a caravan with supporters in the municipality of Talanga. Likewise, Asfura visited the town of El Porvenir, where he assured that his party is well structured and called for respect for the will of the people at the polls. Asfura, who also served as mayor of Tegucigalpa, faced multiple questions due to his involvement in contracts of waste management and the irregular use of public funds. The COP30 in Belém, Brazil, ended without an agreement on ending the use of fossil fuels and deforestation. This is a worrying outcome in light of the advance of global warming. Our colleague Ignacio Lemus has the details.
Después de mucho debate, divergencias, tensión.
After much debate, disagreement, tension, and a fire at the crucial moment of the negotiations, an agreement was approved at COP30 for about half of the countries. The resolution was a disappointment. The roadmap, Brazil's big bet, which would serve as a guideline for countries to implement measures to end fossil fuels and deforestation, a necessary step in the face of scientific warnings, was left out.
This is data, this deadline in red is based on IPCC data, based on the carbon budget they gave for a 1.5 degrees Celsius target that the world agreed on. And this is only less than 4 years left on that target.
A China, Arabia Saudita, Nigeria, entre otros.
China, Saudi Arabia, Nigeria, among others, did not like the fact that Brazil surprisingly set the agenda without discussing it before the COP. On the other hand, the Antipodes, a group of about 30 countries, led by does not accept the final text does not include the end of fossil fuels, and is already planning a kind of parallel COP in April next year in Santa Marta.
I have to express that Colombia is very concerned about the procedural issues happening in this plenary. Colombia raised a point of order before the mitigation work program was gobbled, and that point of order was ignored. So, Mr. President, I'm really sorry, but you are leaving us with no other choice but to object the mitigation work program.
A pesar de que la COP30 tuvo avances en
Although the COP offered progress in adapting to climate change, European countries continued to provide funding that is well below what is urgently needed, something that is repeated in the Loss and Damage Fund, which provides support to the most vulnerable countries. Among the most notable aspects of the final text is the just energy transition, which takes into account employment and the participation of indigenous peoples.
I hope that from now on, with the end of this COP, they can actually take this seriously, that it doesn't just remain on paper, but is implemented outside. They are in Brazil, and Brazil is the Amazon, a country with an immense forest. So they are experiencing the heat here, and you yourselves are feeling the climate crisis and the heat on your skin.
El fantasma negacionista de Estados Unidos.
The denialist ghost of the United States, the great absentee from the COP, made its move through a satellite, Saudi Arabia, which leads the Arab countries. The group did not even support the inclusion of the transition towards abandoning fossil fuels. that had been mentioned 2 years ago to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. COP30 President André Correa do Lago said that he will create the roadmap anyway.
Ainda não ter sido possível consenso.
Although consensus has not been reached for this fundamental call to be included in the decisions of this COP, I am certain that the support it received from many parts of society strengthens the presidency's commitment to dedicating itself to developing two roadmaps. One on halting and reversing deforestation, the other on the transition away from fossil fuels in a fair, orderly, and equitable way.
O desmatamento. Outro sobre a
La ministra de Medio Ambiente Marina Silva fue
Environment Minister Marina Silva was honored at the closing plenary session, and the delegations expressed their gratitude for the efforts of the Brazilian presidency, which spent the early hours of the morning seeking a consensus that was not achieved.
Ignacio Lemus y Julia Nassif para TeleSUR.
And we have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English, there you will be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Fun break, don't go away. Welcome back. In Palestine, at least 22 Palestinian civilians were killed in a new wave of Israeli attacks in the Gaza Strip. The Zionist army attacked positions of the Palestinian resistant Hamas in the Gaza Strip, leaving multiple specify that there are still victims under the rubble and on the roads where ambulance and rescue teams have not been able to reach. In this context, since the start of Israel's genocidal campaign in Gaza in October 2023, the death toll has risen to at least 69,733 people and the number of injured to more than 170,000. The government media office in Gaza announced that the Israeli occupation has committed 497 violations of the ceasefire since the agreement took effect. The office described it as a sweeping breach of international humanitarian law and of the humanitarian protocol annexed to the agreement. On Saturday alone, Israel committed 27 new violations, killing 24 Palestinians and wounding 87 others. According to the statement, the continued Israeli aggression since the ceasefire began, ranging from direct gunfire to systematic home demolitions, has killed 342 Palestinians and injured 875, most of them children, women, and elderly individuals. In this context, the government media office in Gaza detailed the forms of Israel's assaults and violations, including 142 incidents of direct gunfire targeting civilians, homes, residential neighborhoods, and displaced Palestinian tents, 21 incursions by military vehicles into residential and agricultural areas, crossing the temporary Jeru line, 228 artillery, aerial and ground bombardments, and 100 demolition of homes and civilian structures as part of a deliberate policy of collective punishment, constituting a grave breach of the Geneva Conventions. Syrian civil society will launch a campaign on November 26 to advocate for the expulsion of the Zionist Israeli state from the United Nations. The statement titled Israel Out of the UN called for the expulsion of the Israeli government, invoking Article 6 of Chapter 2 of the United Nations Charter. Additionally, the letter addressed to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres gathered over 57,000 signatures, highlighting widespread public outrage over the grave humanitarian situation in Palestine. The report also indicated that Israel is killing Palestinians with bombs and missiles, destroying medical infrastructure and causing the death of nearly 2 million people due to hunger and thirst. We move on to other topics. In Nigeria, residents of Lagos voiced their concerns after a total of 303 school children were abducted by gunmen during an attack on a school in the country's north. No group has yet claimed a responsibility for the abductions, and authorities have said tactical squads have been deployed alongside local hunters to rescue the children. 12 teachers were also abducted during the attack on St. Mary, the Christian Association of Nigeria said Saturday, updating an earlier tally of 215 school children. The students were both male and female and ranged in age from 10 to 18. The school kidnapping in Niger State happened 4 days after 25 school children were seized in similar circumstances in neighboring Kebbi State.
Think about this security thing that has been on for a while is that it's the right of every citizen of a country to be secured, and I believe it's the duty of the government to do that. So I just want to urge the government to take it as their responsibility to every citizen of the country and make sure all the security apparatus are working right.
The government know about what is happening, because I don't know why we have army who has jet fighter should notice these people whenever they are, but they cannot do anything just because of most of them, their children is not in Nigeria. Most of them, their children is overseas schooling. So what of those people who doesn't want to take their children to overseas? So they should die. So we should hold government responsible about what is happening. We don't have a good government.
I think about.
Now in Spain, various groups organized a march against Francoist ideas and totalitarian groups to mark the 50th anniversary of the death of dictator Francisco Franco on November 20. According to police authorities, anti-totalitarian groups and opponents of the Franco regime took to the streets to protest in Madrid. The participants condemned the continued presence of Francoism in Spain and the militancy of some of its representatives in the country's public bodies. The march culminated at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic, where demands were made for the elimination of all government ties with the Zionist State of Israel, which continues to uphold the fascist ideas of Franco. And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief, but remember you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net, and you can also join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, my name is Pablo Micheliche. Thank you for watching.